Once upon a time, Bhim's family came from a place called Dapoli in a district called Ratnagiri in Bombay. Bhim's ancestors used to work for the East India Company's army. Bhim's dad also joined the army and became an officer. When he retired, he took his family to Dapoli, but then he changed his mind, and they moved to Satara in 19. Bhim was a kid in 1901 when something important happened. His mom had passed away, and his dad was working as a cashier in a place called Goregaon. His dad wanted them to visit him there during their summer vacation, so he sent them a letter and told them to let him know when they were coming. Bum and his siblings were excited because they had never seen a train before. They got ready for the trip, wearing new clothes and caps, and packed their stuff. The railway station was 10 miles away, so they hired a horse carriage called a tonga to take them there. They were dressed up nicely and they left their home with joy, although their aunt was sad to see them go. When they reached the station, Bhim's brother bought tickets, and he gave Bim and their cousin some money to spend. They bought lemonade and waited for the train. When it finally arrived, they got on it quickly. They were supposed to get off at a place called Mysore, which was close to Goregaon. At around 5 in the evening, they reached Mysore, but when they got off, there was no one there to meet them. They waited for a long time, but Bhim's dad or his servant didn't show up. They were worried and confused. Finally, the station master, whom they called Babu, came and asked why they were still there. They told him they were waiting for their dad or his servant. Then, Bhim accidentally blurted out that they were from the Mahar community, which was considered untouchable in Bombay. Babu's attitude changed, and he seemed repulsed. He left them alone and they waited for over an hour. The sun was setting and they felt sad and scared. After a while, he came back and asked what they planned to do. They said they wanted to go to Goregaon and asked if they could hire a bullock cart. Babu tried to help them, but none of the cart drivers would take them because they were untouchables. Desperate, Babu asked if they could drive the cart themselves. They said yes, and one cart driver, Ramu, agreed, as long as they paid him double and he walked alongside the cart to avoid pollution. They started their journey at 6:30 p.m., but it got dark quickly. There were no streetlights, and they felt lonely and scared. They started to worry that Ramu might harm them because they had valuable gold ornaments with them. They kept asking him when they would reach Goregaon, but he kept saying it wasn't far. Around 10 p.m. they saw a light in the distance, and Ramu said it was a toll collector's place where they could rest for the night. They felt relieved and stopped crying, but it took them 2 more hours to reach that place. When they arrived, they were very hungry, but there was no water. They asked the toll collector, whom they called Mama, for water, and he rudely refused. He said there was water on the hill, but they had to get it themselves. They couldn't tell him they were untouchables, so they said they were Muslims to try to get water. But that didn't work either. They spent the night near Mama's place, with 2 of them keeping watch while the others slept. The next morning they continued their journey and finally reached Goregaon at 11 a.m. Bhim's dad was surprised because he didn't know they were coming, but it turned out his servant had not given him their letter. This experience made Bhim realize how untouchability affected their lives. Before, he knew they were treated differently, but this journey opened his eyes to the discrimination they face because of their caste.